David Block, age 15, who was killed by a shot fired from the Elector schooner, the 21st of June, 1757. Of life bereft by fell design, I mingle with my fellow clay. On God's protection I recline, to save me in the judgment day. There too must you, cruel man, appear, repent ere it be all too late, or else a dreadful sentence fear, for God will sure revenge my fate. It was the early morning of midsummer, long before the sun would rise, when I was awoken by one of the revenue men.
Magistrate Maskew, the ship will soon be here. You should come quickly.
It was not long before I had gathered my hat, coat, and flintlock, and set out the door, where a carriage was already waiting for us. The cart trundled down the path towards the sea, going past quiet houses. Not a single light glimmered out into the darkness. Moonfleet was silent, and yet there was a palpable tension in the air. Of the two men sitting in front of me, I recognized only one of them. His name was Hawkins, a good, reliable sort. He had worked with me to figure out the exact date and time the contraband ship would be coming into shore. The other, as I have said, I had not seen before. He was a younger man, perhaps not much older than 19. Noting the nervous look in his face, I turned to him with a reassuring look. "First night with the revenue, my lad?" I said. Is it that obvious? Oh, you look as if you're about to faint. Don't worry, Hawkins here will take good care of you. And if we're lucky, we'll be taking home a sizable portion of the smuggling gang that's been plaguing these coastlines the past few years. Sir, when we take the men in, what's to be done with them? They'll be taken to Dorchester prison and put on trial. Most of them will rot in there. And if we're lucky, some will be hanged. We had a decently sized force, although I had hoped for a few more. Each of them had been briefed beforehand and was armed with a musket. I called out to them, "Good evening, gentlemen." But there was no real response. Only a few vague murmurs and stony faces. I walked down and joined them on the ship. The vessel was late. I was beginning to worry that the smugglers had caught wind of our plan. It was a cold night with a strong breeze, but we couldn't risk lighting a fire, else we gave away our position, tucked away in a small cove. The wooden seats were stiff and uncomfortable, and I myself was pressed up against the carriage gun, which was digging into my right leg. After what felt like hours, but was probably in fact only a few minutes, the new boy, who later told me his name was Jonah, called out to me from the bow.
Sir, I can see the ship. Out to the east, just coming round Portland now."
The men perked up at this, eager to finally go into action. There was a great shuffling and moving around as they reached for their muskets, and I waited until they settled down before I addressed them. "This is it, men. We've all been waiting a long time for this. and I'm sure many of you are anxious to head out. These criminals have been plaguing our coastlines for long enough. It's time to bring down the hammer of justice. But do not get complacent. These are hardened sinners and will not go down without a fight, but neither shall we. By the grace of God, we will chase these men down and bring them the punishment they all deserve. Each and every one of you are the strongest and most capable men I know. It is an honor to sail with you all tonight. Now, let us push off. There were far more of them than we expected. They recognized our ship, the Elector, immediately and began firing upon us. One round ripped into the side of the hull, leaving a crater which immediately began taking on water.
Hold the course! Prepare for boarding!
It was a struggle to even get alongside their ship. The man next to me was shot in the arm and collapsed. I did not know at the time whether he was alive or not. We rushed onto the ship, taking them on hand to hand. Some of them were recognized. Many of them were younger than I expected. All of them fought desperately. I was at the forefront. I tackled one man to the floor, knocking him out. Turning around to see Hawkins struggling with another man. He would be fine. I trusted him to handle himself. I turned my focus back to the fight around me. I stopped short, spotting a familiar face among the smugglers. David Block, son of Elzevir, the owner of the Why Not Inn. Not even 20 years of age. Why was one so young, tangled up in such a ruthless battle? He turned and spotted me, eyes widening as he too recognized me. He began running towards me, hand behind his back as if he was concealing a weapon. He was unarmed. In the heat of battle, I panicked, drew my flintlock and fired before I could think. I couldn't risk it. He could have killed me. What if he did have a weapon? It was a judgment I had to make. There were no good options. After a long fight, we eventually managed to subdue them. We tied their wrists together and began to sail back to shore. David's body lay on the floor of the ship, staring at me all the way.